We remember hearing a service that said, if Satan can't make you sin, he'll make you busy. And we thought, man, is that our bumper sticker?
The farm was Dad's dream. And so my heart was to farm this and keep it up like Dad was doing it, or better. And it's always my heart to do the best job that you can do, you know. So that's what I did. And then, of course, Dad got to a point where he was talking about retiring. I went to 2 brothers and a sister, and I say, well, okay, so are you guys ready to go farming? The word was, we're too busy, you know. We don't have time. You know, I says, well, so this is all gonna be on me. The whole thing is Dad's words were, you know, this farm is going to you kids. So, but it all came down to you kids, so it wound up on one kid.
It was like he was handed this 50-year-old farm. I would kiss him goodnight and taste the chemical in his mouth, like sitting on the open old sprayer.
I found myself farming at nights and weekends. There was years there where it was very hard on our marriage, you know, especially through harvest. The fair was going on and there was a concert going on, and so
the whole idea was we'd all work hard that day and then we would all go to this concert at the fair that night. And so most of us were in a great mood, like working hard, getting ready to go. And so by the time it's getting close, you know, Stephen was like, I just can't do it.
I can't bring myself to go play when I know that crop is out there.
We thought, all right, so head to the fair, go to the concert.
Now it's dark in the evening. And of course I'm coming home on the 4-wheeler to get the other piece of equipment. I had windrowed about 8 loads of topsoil right alongside the trail. They left the back light on for me of the house, but the back light shined right across the top of that windrowed dirt. And so I shifted my 4-wheel a little bit and lined up and launched right off those piles of dirt. So I went over the front of the 4-wheeler. 4-wheeler came over, took the same flight plan, landed right on me upside down, drove me into the dirt, cracked and broke 17 bones. And started out with my skull, a couple vertebrae, collarbone, ton of ribs, tore this shoulder, all the muscle, everything off it.
To get that call, absolutely lost it, because we just felt like we were just with you all day. Why did we leave? Like we had the guilt of we should have stayed together. Like maybe the accident wouldn't have even happened if we would have just finished the day.
I always say, you know, there's not a real good reason why I got up off the ground. When you have a crash like that, you know, your chances of survival are slim to none. You know, I said, you know, God just isn't done with me yet, and I've said that for years. After the 4-wheeler crash, then I had, my wife and I had talked, and I says, we gotta have a little powwow with Dad and find out what would have happened if I wouldn't have got up. So I've been working on this farm my whole life, and now it's something that I die working on the farm. I says, I want to make sure that my family is taken care of. And I requested 46 acres because that bounces up against my property that I bought from him forever long ago. He put it in his will. Now it's set in concrete. Sadly, I guess I was Dad's executor for 40 plus years. They all knew that, sister and brothers. And so about, I think it was 30 or 40 days before he passed away, that that they had him sign papers, took me off as executor, inserted my sister, and without me knowing about it. When he passed away, of course, we find out that I am so far out, they have made it so I can't even ask a question, what's going to happen to the farm. You know, and the heartbreak from that, you know, I mean, I've spent my life doing it, you know, it's a part of me. You know, we both took care of my dad, my mom, and so I could never figure out really why they would treat me like that, me and my family like that. As time goes along, it kind of heals things, you know, and so we never gave up on our faith, you know.
We met with Pastor Gordon about forgiving. Like, how do you get beyond that?
You know, my honey and I, we talked about the greed factor, you know, and how horrible that was, and it's surprising how that grabs people and dictates their life.
Stephen and I were having quite a few conversations about legacy, kind of finding our new season of life, what that's going to look like. He had listened to a message, and he was teary, but he wouldn't really share like what he was thinking about. Like, you could tell Luke just hit his heart.
What are you doing to advance God's kingdom, you know? Then all of a sudden it was kind of resonated with you a little. You know, I says, yeah, so what are we doing? And what can we do?
And I said, you ever think about donating property to the church? And we hadn't ever really talked about it. And then he had said, it had agreed, like, yeah, I have been, you know, thinking about that. We're sitting in church, service gets over. He starts talking about, you know, the future of Veneration Church, and we both felt like he looked right at Stephen and was like, anyone has land, would love to talk to you. And I looked at Stephen and I'm like, there's your sign.
Many, many times, you know, I was to a point where you kind of ask God, you know, why am I here? Why am I doing this? You know, it's all and was a part of God's plan.
Seeing something really beautiful come out of such ash and darkness. To God be all the glory in all of this.
So yeah, was it worth it? Absolutely.